is bodily injury insurance?
Bodily injury insurance is the insurance that protects you should you cause an accident. So the amount of coverage that you take out is how much is available to an injured party should you cause an accident. And it's important because if you cause a very significant injury, someone's out of work for a long time, there's hospitalizations, there's surgeries, certainly those things can exceed large sums of money. So sometimes we hear $100,000 in bodily injury coverage, and while that sounds like a lot of money, when you're talking about surgeries that can cost in excess of $100,000, people being out of work for months at a time, $100,000 is not necessarily a lot of coverage. So what happens in those scenarios? Just because you only have $100,000 in coverage doesn't mean that the party is limited in what they can seek from you to $100,000. So if you have assets, it's always a good idea to have as much coverage as possible. There's a thing called umbrella insurance. If you carry $300,000 in bodily injury coverage, you then can take out an excess umbrella policy, which actually they're not that expensive here in the state of Florida. But if you are concerned about your assets, should you cause an accident, it's always a good idea to have higher limits and to consider an umbrella policy.
Absolutely. And we're talking about bodily injury coverage in terms of an automobile policy specifically. And when you purchase an insurance policy, the insurance company has two duties to you. One is to indemnify you up to your policy limits. So if you have $100,000 bodily injury policy limits, they would insure you up to $100,000. But the other is to provide a defense, which is really important because if you get into a car accident and you hurt somebody else and you don't have any bodily injury coverage, the insurance company doesn't have to do anything for you. They don't have to provide a defense, meaning hire an attorney or pay for expert witnesses or anything. You are on your own. And I don't know if you've experienced this, but I've represented a few people who've been sued by insurance companies or other parties because they didn't have bodily injury insurance. So at a minimum, you need some bodily injury coverage because it's gonna provide an attorney for you and a defense for you. So it's really important insurance.
Yeah, and there are things that they can do in addition to not providing a defense. Your license can be taken away, and they can seek money from you. And until that money's paid back, they can take your driver's license, they can take a fishing license, they can take all different types of things away from you if there's a judgment placed against you.
Mm-hmm.